They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
You're invited to the Bridal Show of the Future, a new twist on the typical bridal expo. Come out to experience the food, dancing, meet and greet, wedding event professionals, and win fantastic prizes. Friday, August 6th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. To purchase tickets, please visit thepostbridalshowgonzales.com or follow on Instagram. All proceeds benefiting the VFW Post 3693 of Gonzales. Support your local veterans.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are 2 busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome as we start. Did I do it? Got it? Got it. Thank you, Marty. Welcome to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that all is well with you and yours in your world. Since the last time we had the opportunity to spend a little time with you and yours, roughly some 24 hours ago. We start today's show talking about education here in the state of Louisiana. We informed you yesterday that Louisiana State University announcing their protocols for COVID-19 and the upcoming fall semester, requiring that masks will be worn indoors by faculty, staff, and support personnel, while indoors in all portions of the campus. Secondly, students, when they return, must provide evidence of either a negative COVID-19 test or proof of a vaccination. On the heels of that, yesterday, Southern University announcing their protocols for the upcoming season. Officials at Southern saying that they never lifted their mask mandate, but adding students will not be required to show proof of vaccination or a monthly negative COVID test. However, students living on campus must show one of the two at least once before moving into the dorms on campus August 9th. It is something that, with the increase in cases from the Delta variant, I think just about all of the university communities across Louisiana anticipated. I don't have any information to substantiate it one way or another, but I've got to imagine that this is probably going to be par for the course for the other institutions of higher learning across the state. Obviously, if you are an employee there or you have a young person attending an institution of higher education, then obviously it would be in your best interest as well as theirs to stay abreast of this information, specifically from the universities. I mean, you know how it is. We tend many times to glean information from the media, and while that has its place, at the end of the day, it is the institutions themselves that will set the policy. So save yourself one step in the process by simply going to the websites of the various institutions themselves. As the old adage goes, get it straight from the horse's mouth, and that'll be one less step in all the other steps of things that you have to worry about these days. Speaking of education, we all knew that this was probably going to be the case. With the academic year going on 2 years now, having been interrupted the way it's been because of the pandemic, dealing with virtual learning and the like, the results of the LEAP 2025 exams that we use to gauge the progress academically of our students K through 12 here in Louisiana is suffering. It is part of a national trend. Let me say right up front, this is not exclusive to Louisiana. It is a national trend. And I guess in hindsight that is to be expected, because with the advent of virtual learning, it's something that we've never encountered before. And as a result, there were hurdles, obstacles, things of that nature that we had never encountered before and had to literally on the fly adjust to. The latest figures from the Louisiana Department of Education dealing with what our young people know in math, English, science, and social studies, grades 3 through 12, the numbers are down. The goal is for students to reach the fourth highest level, which is called mastery. That shows that you have mastered what you have been taught in these categories. Unfortunately, the numbers for grades 3 through 8 mastery, the year before was at 34%. It's now down to 29%. High school students achieving mastery 2 years ago was 37%. It's now down to 32%. Jim Garvey, and this is reading from the website of WBRZ, the ABC affiliate, News 2 here in Baton Rouge. Jim Garvey, the longest serving member of the State Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, said he actually expected the decline to be twice as large, taking into account back-to-back interrupted school years. Quote, I would say the reduction in scores are not nearly as bad as I was expecting. Statewide, only one school district showed an improvement overall. Jackson Parish, their percentages grew by 1 percentage point. The sharpest decline was in Evangeline Parish, where the number of students that achieved the benchmark of mastery dropped by 10%. Now, again, this is not exclusive to Louisiana. It is a trend across the entire nation. And I guess in hindsight, it is to be expected. We in this country and around the world, by and large, have an in-person model as the bellwether. It is what we've become accustomed to. It's how we learn in a classroom, physically, with a teacher, one-on-one, personalized attention, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To change that with the virtual model, it's to be expected that there was going to be a drop. Now, let me say for the record, when I saw the numbers, immediately I said, I wonder how baby boomers would have fared had we encountered something like a pandemic where we were removed from in-person learning. And it's kind of hard to settle on a definitive opinion, primarily because we didn't have access to information like young people now do. I mean, back in my day, all we had were encyclopedias. And if you were fortunate enough to have one at home, a set of them at home, then you were able to continue the learning process. Unlike today, where there's the internet, you can connect via Zoom to class learning, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of hard to come to a definitive conclusion. However, let me hasten to add, my humble opinion only, no statistical data, no empirical data one way or other to quantify this. But it was my experience that the prevalence of two-parent households, and maybe more important, the prevalence of parents being involved in their children's education, probably would have mitigated a drop unlike what we see today. And listen, I get it. When you look at the number of households these days that are headed by single parents, be they male or female, with all they have on their plate to keep the household running, with all they have on their plate dealing with COVID and all these other things, many do as good a job as they physically can. That is just simply the reality of life these days. But at the end of the day, when there is a two-parent household, it's just like anything else. It's a lot easier to share that load. I mean, think about where you work. If there's a person missing that day for whatever reason, others have to pick up the slack. And I would imagine Amy, my dear friend, is probably over here shaking her head. Yeah, when somebody doesn't show up for work, it becomes incumbent for the others. And Julie probably says the same thing too. I didn't want to leave Julie out of that as well. But at the end of the day, it's a lot easier. And the fact of the matter is, guys and girls, these kids did not ask to come here, but they are here. And it is our responsibility as their parents and as adults to be sure that we leave no stone unturned in getting them the best education that they can. Hopefully, we will start to see these numbers go right back up. But that can only happen if we adults, particularly parents, get more involved in our kids' education. You know, at the end of the day, if nothing else, one thing that could be construed as a benefit to what we've gone through with COVID-19 and remote learning, I would venture a guess that there are more people now, maybe than any time in over a generation, that are aware of what's being taught and how it's being taught in school. Many of you watching right now, you've not set foot on a high school campus since you graduated X number of years ago. Your kids come home, you ask them, how was school today? And they tell you, oh, it was okay. And that's pretty much the extent of the conversation. Well, remote learning has changed all of that. We now get to see firsthand what's being taught, how it's being taught, and hopefully it will lead to greater and better results for our Louisiana kids in the future. First break of today's show. We'll get this out of the way, come back and talk more with you right where you've got it on today's edition of the Clarence Bud Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Go where summer leads you in an award-winning Mazda CUV. Find yours during Mazda's season of discovery.
Call, click, or come by and discover your new Mazda today at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I understand as well as, maybe better than most, because I fall into the category, that as you get older, if God blesses you to stick around X number of years, you realize everything changes. There's an old song that, and the hook line says, everything must change, nothing remains the same. But you know, it's painful in America these days to watch the woke crowd kill everything they touch. I will be the first to admit, I grew up as a huge sports fan. And because of my professional career, I was fortunate enough to host the TV show for 4 Hall of Fame coaches: Dale Brown, Eddie Robinson, Pete Richardson, Roger Cador. So I've been around a little bit. But watching professional sports, these folks still don't get it. The phrase that's been coined, get woke, go broke, is falling totally on deaf ears. Latest example from the National Football League. The Washington football team announcing this week to all their ticket holders and those that will be in attendance at games this fall that you can wear the burgundy and gold colors of the Redskins to the games, but war paint and headdresses with feathers, it's banned from FedEx Field. The ban was announced this week in an email to ticket holders telling them that Native American garb is not welcomed in the stadium. Quote, "We are excited to welcome everyone back wearing their burgundy and gold. However, Native American inspired ceremonial headdresses or face paint may no longer be worn into the stadium." You know, one has to wonder, are they purposely trying to remove what until now was a sign of admiration and respect for Native Americans? It's as though, in the interest of becoming woke, they are purposely trying to erase identities through professional sports. Now, what's really going to be interesting, now that the Washington football team has banned war paint and headdresses from the games, what happens if a Native American shows up with war paint and or a headdress celebrating his heritage? What happens in that regard? Do you kick the guy or girl out of the stadium for violating the policy? You know, it's painful to watch how people come up with these things, but apparently never take the time to think it all the way through. By the way, as you know, they're now called the Washington football team. So they're going through this whole drawn-out process of coming up with a new name. So they conducted a survey asking their fans, what do you think we should change the name of the team to? The name that was the front runner was the Warriors. Oh, no, we can't have that. Can't have that. And they wonder why viewership of NFL games is in the toilet. They wonder why our opinion of professional sports is gone in the toilet. You don't have to look far. As a matter of fact, find the closest mirror, and it will tell you everything you need to know. Speaking of professional sports, at some point, Congress is going to have to get involved and break up these monopolies. Here's why. For years and years and years now, you have seen taxpayers put up money to support and pretty much finance professional franchises. I mean, how many times have you seen in a city where the owner of a team says, unless we get a new stadium, I don't know what's going to happen? Well, it has happened again. Just this week, the owner of the Buffalo Bills threatened the folks in Buffalo, New York, that if you don't give us a brand new stadium, fully funded by taxpayer dollars, we're going to move to Austin, Texas. Did I mention the owner of the Buffalo Bills has a net worth of $7 billion? You heard me right. This guy threatening the city of Buffalo that if y'all don't build me a brand new stadium and you pay for it, I'm going to take my team and we're going to play someplace else. Dude has a net worth of $7 billion. Now, what's interesting is, let's say for the sake of the conversation, Buffalo says, well, okay, we're going to fork over the money. What do we get out of the deal? If you think back, I think the newest stadium in the NFL, and don't take this as gospel, but I want to say it was the 49ers, Levi Field in San Francisco. $1.2 billion price tag. You know, the one with the shopping mall inside and every amenity you could conceivably get for a stadium. So it's probably going to be in the neighborhood of $1 billion for a new stadium for the Buffalo Bills, give or take a couple $100 million. So what will they get in exchange for this? Well, you get the prominence of having a team in your city. And of course, all of the economic advantages that come along with that. Well, ironically, George Mason University conducted an economic study not long ago. Actually, they updated it. They did one study from encompassing 1969 to 1999. They then went back and did another economic impact study of the benefits to a city that hosts an NFL franchise. You know how they've told us all these years that if you let us come here and we're your team, all the economic benefits that the city will reap as a result of that? Well, the folks at George Mason University came up to a different conclusion. Their results show that a maximum 5% increase to a city's economy is the direct result of having a professional sports franchise. The average economic impact is 1.5%. So imagine, instead of spending $1 billion on a new freaking football stadium, and let me say for the record, prior to these ingrates taking a knee and all this other kind of foolishness when the national anthem is being played at a professional football game, I was as big a football fan as anybody on the planet. But I digress. Imagine if the city, instead of spending $1 billion on a football stadium, decided to invest that in economic development for that city. Guaranteed you'd have more than a 1.5% increase. Now listen, y'all, if that is what a city decides to do, well, have at it. That's your right. But at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but it really says something to me that a guy with a net worth of $7 billion will threaten and try to hold the city hostage because they won't build him a brand new stadium at the taxpayers' expense. There's something wrong with this picture, y'all. There's something seriously wrong with this picture. But hey, that's just me. Bottom of the hour break. Coming up next, you know, I mentioned if you stick around long enough, you see things before they happen. I refer to it as the BPE factor, the acronym for based on past experience. When you've been around long enough, you know what's coming. You can see it a mile away. And sure enough, your old buddy Clarence was proven right yet again. We'll talk about that when we come back continuing today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
You're invited to the Bridal Show of the Future, a new twist on the typical bridal expo. Come out to experience the food, dancing, meet and greet, wedding event professionals, and win fantastic prizes. Friday, August 6th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. To purchase tickets, please visit thepostbridalshowgonzales.com or follow on Instagram. All proceeds benefiting the VFW Post 3693 of Gonzales. Support your local veterans.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. If you were with us as we went to the last commercial break, and particularly for those of you that weren't, I mentioned something that I called the BPE factor. That is an acronym for a term that I coined, a phrase that I coined, and it stands for based on past experience. You know, if God blesses you to stick around this earth long enough, and you are fairly observant, you see trends. And as a result, as time goes by, when certain things happen, you know what the result's going to be before it even comes close to manifesting itself. For example, remember a few weeks back, there was a 15-year-old here in Baton Rouge that carjacked a nurse at Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center. Remember that case? We talked about the fact that the age of violent offenders in this city and many others across America is getting lower and lower and lower. At the time when we talked about this 15-year-old, how crazy it was, understanding that at one point in time, there were certain things you just didn't do. For example, you don't carjack, murder, assault someone that works in the healthcare industry, particularly at a hospital, because who knows, later that day, that might be the person that saves the life of your loved one. So there were certain things that we didn't do involving certain institutions. In talking about that case of the 15-year-old, I told you then, this is in no way, shape, or form probably the only crime that this young miscreant has been involved in. And sure enough, law enforcement now, after conducting an investigation, has now charged David Westbrook Jr. as an adult, number one, and they have also charged him in 5 separate armed robberies from May 28th to July 9th. Among the crimes, 4 carjackings. All 4 of the carjackings happened between June 12th and July 9th, less than a month's time. 15 freaking years old. Now, I will be the first to acknowledge, I have no idea what this kid's home life is. Could well be single mom, 3 or 4 kids, working 3 or 4 jobs, doing the best she can to raise these kids. I don't know. I will be the first to acknowledge. But there is obviously something going on in that household when a 15-year-old is carrying out armed robberies and carjackings. Listen, y'all. Law enforcement cannot fix this. This, pure and simple, is a parental problem. End of discussion. You can spend all the time you want blaming the politicians, all the time you want blaming the school system, all the time you want blaming law enforcement. But these are not politicians' children, they're not educators' children, and they're not law enforcement's children. These are our kids. And at the end of the day, unless and until we grab this bull by the horns, it's only going to get worse. In an age like we are seeing today, where at one point you could open the paper, shows you how old I am, you could open the paper, see some horrific crime, and automatically you'd say, what was this fool thinking? You know, you're thinking 20, 25, 30-year-old individual. Nowadays, God only knows 17, 16, 15-year-olds carrying out horrendous, horrific crimes. This individual now, at 15, because of the magnitude, the severity, and the number of crimes, is being charged as an adult. And the fact of the matter is, when all is said and done, if something isn't done about this young person right now, then guess who's going to get the privilege and the pleasure of providing for 3 hots in a cot, health care, and somebody to guard him for the rest of his natural life? Ding, 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 you and I. You got a winner. Listen, y'all, this is our problem. And if you are one of those that buys into the liberal philosophy, you're a big part of the problem. You know, we've been told here in recent memory that defunding the police will lead to solving these problems. How big of an idiot do you have to be to buy into that theory? How stupid do you have to be? Of course, now, if you buy into that, like all this other foolishness that we see and hear these days, you probably also buy into the fact that a biological male can be a female. You see where all of this stuff leads? At the end of the day, some things are what they are, and there is no wiggle room. The fact of the matter is, if you have certain chromosomes and certain genitalia, you're a dude, bruh. End of discussion. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what your feelings are. You're a dude, bruh. End of discussion. But they have played us. Now it's all about feelings. Well, I feel like I'm a woman. Yeah, well, what about the genitalia, bruh? Well, I feel like I'm a man. Do you produce sperm? You know, just simple, basic biological facts. We have now forsaken that because of feelings. But here's something you should take into account. Those that are leading you down this path, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. For example, Congresswoman Cori Bush is one of those leading the charge to defund the police. Did you know over the last 3 months, Congresswoman Bush has spent $70,000 on personal private security? So let me get this straight. I live in a crime-ridden, Democrat-run city. Pick one, anyone. Oakland, LA, Seattle, Portland, St. Louis, Kansas City, Chicago, Detroit, Newark, Atlanta, New Orleans. Pick one, anyone, where crime is just running rampant. And she will tell you, as will other Democrats / liberals / progressives, that defunding the police will solve the problem. You know what is so egregious about this? Those who are impacted the most by it are the ones that more readily buy into the narrative. All these folks running around encouraging black people to get behind the defund the police movement, when the lack of law enforcement impacts who the most? Yep, you got it, black folk. You don't have to be the brightest bulb in the chandelier, y'all, to figure this out. You don't. For God's sake, Detroit, Chicago, blood runs in the streets every freaking day. And you have the unmitigated gall to propose removing funding from law enforcement? Now, we're grown, we're all adults here, okay? Let's just be honest about this. A lot of this is fueled by liberals' white guilt. Do us all a favor. Get rid of that, because you're not helping. You're making the problem worse. Your liberal friends won't tell you this, but go talk to the people in Chicago where every freaking weekend 50 plus people are being shot, and ask them how they feel about it. Most recent Rasmussen poll, 78% of folks in Detroit say, oh, hell no, don't defund the police, we need more police. But that's not the narrative that the media spins for you to consume. At the end of the day, y'all, they can only get away with this kind of crap if you allow it to happen. Some of y'all won't get that till later. But that's okay. as long as at some point you get it. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
The all-new 22 Civic, now on sale at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. It just occurred to me, and I know that he will charge it to my head and not to my heart. My dear friend HB, I got your correspondence yesterday. The good folks here had mistakenly taken the letter and put it someplace else, so I only got it days after it arrived. You truly warmed my heart, brother. And thank you for the heads up on the other info that you included in that correspondence. It's letters like yours and warm thoughts like yours that keep an old boy going. I appreciate you more than words can say, HB. It is turning the corner on yet another football season. And if ever you needed a sign that LSU football fans are waiting with bated breath for the season to start, maybe, and he just walked in, maybe he can help me out on this. I saw this week, yesterday as a matter of fact, where United Airlines has added some direct flights from Baton Rouge Metro Airport to Los Angeles for the upcoming game. The following tweet was posted by BR Metro Airport. It reads, United adds nonstop BTR to LAX flights for LSU UCLA game. Join fans and take nonstop flights from BTR to LAX for the game departing Friday, September 3rd at 5 p.m., returning Sunday, September 5th at 7:30 a.m. Is this common practice, Bill?
Let me come up so you can hear.
Sure.
It's not common, but it's not unusual.
Okay.
Apparently, there was enough demand
Right.
that United could put on what we call an extra segment.
Uh-huh.
And since Friday afternoons are normally one of the lowest travel days,
Right.
what they probably did was they took an airplane that's only doing about 30 or 40%.
Uh-huh.
And
See if they could
shuffled
bump that puppy
those
up.
people to another and
Right.
and put it in. I understand the fare is going to be quite reasonable. Now, the good thing about this
Uh-huh.
is that American's not going to offer nonstop service. They're going to have one-stop service through DFW.
Right.
But they're probably going to lower their fares as well. So
Well, I would imagine.
you'll have more choices. And United is going to do it again for the Alabama game, nonstops to Birmingham. But it's a real nice deal.
Yeah.
And United and American have taken over they go back and forth for being the number one airline in Baton Rouge since
Uh-huh.
the COVID recovery.
Right.
They move a lot of people. They've got great airplanes, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So there you have it, LSU fans. And by the way, my dear friend Bill Profita is up next on the Exiles, along with another dear friend, Kevin Gallagher. They would appreciate sincerely if you gave them an hour of your time immediately following yours truly. Speaking of COVID and events, it was announced this week as well that an annual favorite here in South Louisiana, because of the fourth surge of COVID, will not happen this year. Officials announcing the executive committee of the Jambalaya Festival Association announcing that the 2021 Jambalaya Festival has now officially been canceled. It was scheduled for August 27th through the 29th. Officials say that plans are in the works to hold the festival during the Memorial Day weekend 2022. Those dates would be May 27th through the 29th, if, of course, COVID cooperates and things of that nature. It is one of those things where I guess we as Louisianians have become so accustomed to certain things, we tend to take it for granted. I mean, it is South Louisiana, and we have a fair and a festival for anything that you can think of. Of course, that falls right in line with the fact that Louisianians will throw a party at the drop of a hat. I mean, hey, look, the sun's shining. Woo, let's have a festival. That's who we are. It's what we do. But it's times like these where we get a greater appreciation for the things that we have, because all of a sudden we don't have them. Hopefully, Memorial Day weekend 2022 rolls around, the Jambalaya Festival will be on again. And hopefully you will take the opportunity to patronize it. It's something that your heart goes out to the vendors, because there are untold numbers of individuals that look so forward to the fairs and festivals that we have all across Louisiana. Many of them, as a matter of fact, travel just with that in mind. They will come to Louisiana and go from this fair to this festival to that fair, so on and so forth. And a considerable portion of their income comes from the fairs and festivals here in Louisiana. Our hearts go out to them, because I have done my radio show in years past, God knows how many times, from the great city of Gonzales and Lamar Dixon Expo Center, whether it's the outdoor sportsman show or whatever event. And I know that there are just some absolutely wonderful people there. The vendors are some of the nicest people you'll ever encounter, and they go out of their way to make the festival goers feel welcome. So hopefully this too shall pass. And for those festivals that don't end up being canceled, make it a point, guys, girls, to go out and support these events. It is many of our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones that count on these events every single year. And, you know, there but by the grace of God go any one of us. So if at all possible, make it a point. Go out and patronize these events. Have yourself a wonderful time. Start some new family traditions and support some great Louisianians in the process. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Bayou Smokehouse, the home of old school barbecue, is where we record this show every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And don't forget, guys, girls, if you miss a show, simply go to YouTube and punch in the Clarence Bug Show. All of the shows there are listed. If there was one that was a particular favorite, then you can go back, review the show, and of course, share it with all your friends. And the same holds true for the Exiles. My dear friends Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher coming up next, by the way. And if you don't stick around, I can see through the TV. I will know that you're not watching the Exiles. I'll send Bill Profita to your house. He's an old Italian boy. He knows something about some kneecaps. Right, Bill? That's right. That's right. Between he and Alan Traylor, you don't want to get on the bad side of those two guys. That being said, y'all, my time's up and I got to go. But you know what? This day, maybe more so than any other day in history, I give it to you. You're right. America, in no way, shape, or form are we perfect. But you know what? For this old boy's money, America's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize by now that he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. God bless.